How to place down taps in PractiCAD. Virtually any fitting in the software can be tapped to another fitting to make it a tap. The first part of this tutorial, we're going to show you how to grab a fitting and use it as a tap instead of a main trunk line. To demonstrate, we're going to go into the fitting bin and choose the 45-degree boot tap. We're then going to go into the fitting parameter box and we're going to choose our parameters. In this tutorial, we'll choose depth in 12 and width out 12. Notice for the 45-degree boot tap, when we change the width out, the width in changes with it. Once we have the correct parameters, we must now click on our drawing space. You can see in the command line that PractiCAD is saying specify fitting displacement or continue, tap, or rotation. If we hit T spacebar or T enter for tap, PractiCAD will now ask us to select the fitting. You can see it in your command line. We're now going to click on the fitting we want to tap to. When we do that, PractiCAD is going to open up the tap parameter box. This window can be stretched out as large or as small as you want. Just make sure that if you do make it smaller, that you don't make it so small you can't see all of the parameters in the box. Here we have two sections. The first section is the parameters. We have the parameter orientation. With rectangular taps, we have four possible orientation parameters: near and far, top and bottom. Top is always the top of the duct. Bottom is always going to be bottom of duct, and you'll notice that when you're pointing down you get an X, and when you point up you get a circle. Near is always the right side of the duct, and that's dictated basically by the in joint. If you're looking into the in joint, the right hand side is near, the left hand side is far. Our next choice is rotation. We can rotate either using the direction box or we can type in rotation here. For example, if this is a return line, we might want to put the rotation at 180 and flip our boot tap over. The next choice is mount. There are two choices: shop mount and field mount. If we choose shop mount, PractiCAD, if you download the rectangular duct to the plasma, PractiCAD will actually download the hold points. So in other words, it'll cut a hole out of the rectangular duct to fit the tap. If you've got field, it'll just download the duct separately, but you won't cut out the holes for the tap with the plasma. So you have shop and field mount. If you choose shop mount, there are two parameters here that control either the size of the hole or the size of the joint attaching. When it's rectangular duct, we usually just use tap hole add. Tap hole add is the amount we want the hole to be larger or smaller than the dimensions of the boot tap. In this tutorial, you can see that we've got dimensions of 18 on the width and 12 on the depth. If we give tap hole add 2 inches, it will add 2 inches to both sides of the width and 2 inches to both sides of the depth. In other words, instead of the hole being 18 by 12, it will now be 14 by 8, because we're going to lose 2 inches on either side for the depth and 2 inches either side for the width. That is tap hole add, and you can control this either globally or fitting by fitting. The next choice is tap joint add. If we were going to add a round pipe to round duct, the joint that would be attaching to the round duct, we could say tap joint add and give it a parameter like 1 or 2, and it would add a joint allowance of that value. So these are the parameters that we have to answer before we go into our placement section.